afternoon. This
Great.
evening,
Thank
it's
you.
afternoon here. I know it's evening over there. Yes, so they said yes, they can hear you. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
loud and clear. All right. All right, so I'll just be stepping aside while you introduce yourself to the audience and then we get started. So, yes, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. So excited to be here. And I hope that we would get a few things or correct a few things, really. And we know that change is constant. We have to constantly make efforts to upgrade what we already have, not change it entirely. So today I'm not here to, discredit your CVs, no, or your resume, no. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just here for me to point out some things that I look out for as a HR personnel. Okay, so let's get into it. What is a CV? Many a times I see CVs that are, you know, overloaded, overloaded CVs. And it's not as if there are no important things in your CV. There are important things. But I have a lot of resumes to look at with a deadline. So I would not have the time to, check each. I just want to see your name. I just want to see the important things and move on to the next. Am I shortlisting you? Am I discrediting you? Or So first things first, your CV should not be too choked, too many words, too many English. No, you need to go straight to the point. You need to be specific with what you're showing us. Okay, so as I said, a CV is a concise professional document to showcase to me, you're showing off to me as a recruiter now that you're the best candidate for the job. So when you're trying to, showcase that you're the best person, you have to give it your best. You have to give it, your all so that you don't miss out, right? Okay. So this we're going to talk about six things, five things that I need to see in your CV for it to stand out. And then the last one is just point six is just what do you call it? Too much information that we do not need. But let's start from the beginning. Your profile, right? We're going to go with your profile. Start with your profile. So for your profile section, when I open a CV, the only thing I want to see at the top is your name in bold, right? Bold, big, bigger than the rest of the the rest of the body of the work. Then your location. Are you in Lagos? Lagos, Nigeria. Simple. Don't give me your address. Don't tell me, oh, you stay in number 13, be close. All of that. Security wise, it's not even advisable. So just go straight to the point. Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, Nigeria, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. Simple as that. After your name, your location comes next. Now, why do I need to see your location? I need to know that you are able to come into the office. If you're not applying for a remote job, I need to see that you can come into the office. But if your location, if the recruiter is in Abuja now, the organization is in Abuja, let's say for example, and you're in Lagos, the chances of you being shortlisted to the next phase is going to be difficult. All right. So it's very important that you look at the location. Or if it is something you can relocate, then you can change it, no problem. Just for that particular CV, right? Then the third thing I would like to see is a professional email. I don't want to see gift david at sugar dot gift sugar 2467 at gmail.com. No, please. No. I don't want to see someone's name and baby boy at gmail.com at yahoo.com. No. I would just look at it. That is not a professional email. That is not, it doesn't, it's not befitting. No. And then the final thing is your LinkedIn profile. When we get deeper into today's um, webinar, I will let you guys know why it's very important to have your profile, your LinkedIn profile. All right. Before I move to the next, my next section, I would like to point that we know that these days we do not submit a handwritten or a typed hard copy CV. We usually we have platforms where you can just apply. Now, when you're applying online, of course, they'll ask you your name, your age, your gender, all of that. You add a picture, you add all those things. So, in your CV, these documents that you're sending to me, these documents that you're sending to me, I don't want to see your age, I don't want to see your local government, I don't want to see your local government chairman, I don't want to see the streets of your house. You live in 32B. No. I don't want to see your gender. I think I've mentioned that. I also do not want to see um what else? I don't want to see your date of birth. Yeah, a lot of people put their date of birth in their CV. No, that document. No, it's not necessary for you to put all that. All I want to just see, because when you're applying online, there are portions for you. You have to answer all that. You write your name, your local government, all those things. So if you're sending me a document, I don't need to see that. The computer is going to arrange that for me. I don't need to see a photo, a passport photograph in your CV. So just open your CV while we're on this, if you can, and let's go through it together. And I hope you're pointing down you're taking notes so that you can make corrections where necessary. All right, let's move to the next slide. So when you're done with your profile section, the next place we're coming to, the next thing I want to see is your educational qualification. Now, for your educational qualification, it's advisable to put your most recent, arrange them to your most recent, right? You don't start from degree to masters to PhD. Like, you don't arrange them like that. You start from PhD, then you put your masters, then you put your degree. That is how it works. All right. So, and then you add relevant courses if you've attended, courses, professional courses, you should add them too. Remember that you add your most recent course before the older ones. Okay. So for this for your educational qualification, it's okay to have varieties of it's okay for you to be spontaneous with taking different courses. However, when you're applying for a role, you need to limit those skills, those courses that you've taken, right? So let's say you're an engineer. I am an engineer. Let's use me. I'm an engineer and I want to apply into an oil organization. If I've had other courses, if I've taken other courses, maybe um what do you call it? Let's say digital marketing, something unrelated to your profession, you can still add them, but that would be the last thing that you add. The ones you add should be the relevant ones to your profession, okay? To that role, exactly. So if I'm an engineer, I would add my um, project management, my HSC courses. Those are what I'm going to add. Now it gives you leverage, it gives you more advantage. I would want to pick you because you have relevant courses. I'm not saying other courses are not relevant, but you have you have the relevant courses to match the role that you're applying for, and it gives you more advantage to other people who do not have that, and it's going to give Other people more advantage if they have more courses than you related to the role that you're applying for. I hope everyone can still hear me. I hope I'm still making sense. All right. So, and you also need to keep it simple. You also need to keep it simple. So the first thing is your course of study, then your university, you add your relevant courses, and then you match the role to your courses. So that's why I said we need to always update our CVs. We all have to always update our resumes. If I'm applying for a different job, a different role, I would look at my CV. I would remove what is not relevant to to the role that I'm applying for and apply the courses that apply to the role I'm applying for. I hope I'm making sense. So that it's easier. So that it don't confuse me that oh, this person is applying for this role and I can't see any course or any any skill that is related to the role that you're applying for. So how do I know? I can't see you. I can't ask you questions at that stage. So it's confusing because I would not know if you would be able to deliver as you claim. All right. So the third section I'll be talking about on the resume would be your work experience. This one too, this section, you also have to arrange them from the most recent to the oldest. All right. So you're going to put HR administrative in Amadine Energy company.com, and then you're going to put at the side that you've been working from 2023 to date, right? It tells me that oh, you're still working there or you've worked there, or 2023 to 2025 tells me that that is your most recent experience that you've had, and then you can now go on to highlight the older ones. All right. So let's say we're going to visualize me as an example. Let's say I do not have any experience, right? Let's say I've not had any professional experience. University, I didn't go for what's it called? Internship. I didn't go for internship. I just helped my parents in their supermarkets, right? So what would I be doing in the supermarket? I'm looking after the staff, supporting the daily activities. I'm taking I'm taking audits of sales, tracking sales, all these things, right? Maybe my parents do not pay me for that job, but I that is an experience, right? So if you say, oh, you don't have any professional experience, I didn't work in an actual office where I got, where I was under a payroll or whatever. However, I have this experience that I've used. Now I'm going to use that in my CV. I'm going to state that I was an, admin, um, executive admin officer or something for A to Z supermarkets. And while I was there, this was what I did. This was what I did. This was how I was able to improve sales. This was how I was able to interact with customers. This was how I was able to keep the peace between employees, between other staff. This was how I was able to keep track of sales and profits and everything. Going to find a way to tailor that into your resume, right? That is if you don't have any professional experience. But if you have that and you have the unprofessional experience, you can bring them together. All I'm saying is it has to be from the most recent. How do I know it's from the most recent? You have to add the dates, time frame of how long you've been working where you said you were working. All right. I hope I'm making sense. And okay, okay. So the I think this is the fourth section. Yeah, fourth section. That is your leadership experience. So there's no such thing as when you're writing your experience, like when you're stating out um yeah, your experience, you have to tell me your experience where you worked. So there's no need for you to there's no such thing as I used to. That word, that statement is very confusing. You can say you have to be confident in what you're saying. So instead of saying I used to organize file, I used to I used to um I used to create schedule for meetings. I used to no, please, let's not use that. It's use statements like I organized meetings between different stakeholders, find a way to make it very presentable for me to read. I introduced this system which made work easier. I developed, I led a group of graduate trainees on a training or something. It's better for you to use these words, which tells me that you've done it already. But when you say I used to, is it past tense? Is it present tense? Is it what you're doing? It's very confusing. So it's better you use past tense, even if you are still in that role, even if you're still working on that role, if you still um occupy that position. Just make statements. Make use of statements like I organized, I introduced. It tells me that you're resourceful. It tells me that I don't really have to worry so much about you. Okay? So now the sixth, so for the leadership and the last one I'm going to talk about, it's not really it's not a do or die, it's not a by force something, right? However, if you're writing your work experience, that is in the third section that I spoke about, you still make use of statements like I organized, I introduced, I developed. It tells me that you are resourceful, as I mentioned. Okay. Now, this the final section of your CV, of your resume, your CV resume, would be your volunteering experience. Now, this is where LinkedIn comes in, right? You volunteered in an orphanage. You take pictures, you take videos, you post it, you tell us about your experience, all of that. We're going to check your LinkedIn. We would check your LinkedIn. We would see your activity. We would see that skill. There was a part in your skills that you told us that you are um there are some certain skills that you mentioned in your resume. So now your LinkedIn profile helps us to confirm that. We just check your activity, look at how you're doing, see the volunteering experience that you mentioned. Not necessarily what do you call it? Um Volunteering in an orphanage. It could be an outreach. All of these things, they are very important. You can add them because I can bet you that in organizations, I'm very sure that most of you work in organizations, there are some times that they just need volunteers for some things. You don't know what the outcome may be, but yeah, it's also important. Now we're going to talk about awards, skills, and certifications. I would also make mention that you should pick the most relevant awards. No, the most relevant skills and certifications. Awards, we don't have an issue with awards. Now, for your skills, like I mentioned in, I think, the second section, where we talked about your education and your work experience, you have to select your skills and your certifications that are most relevant to the role that you're applying for, to any role that you're applying for. All right. So, and you arrange them according to, um, what is more relevant to that. You can add the rest at the bottom. If I have the time to see it, I'll look at it. If I don't have time to see it, I'll just look at the most relevant ones. Okay. So you look at your skills, look at your certifications. The most recent should come before the older ones, right? The most relevant to the job you're applying for should come first before any other thing. I hope everyone is with me. Yeah, okay, I've spoken about this. Very important, relevance. Be very intentional about relevance. Pick courses that are relevant, pick skills that are relevant, pick certifications that are relevant. Make sure you're showing me, make sure you're, as I said before, you showcase, you show off that you have this skill, you have this certification, you have this award, you show it to me. However, you have to show me, as I said, we have a lot of, there could be 50 resumes that I have to look at under a very short period of time. So I may not have the time to, look at your CV, your resume line by line. I just want to look at the top. In fact, sometimes when I look at the top and I see things like your age, your marital status, your I just skip. I just skip. The rest of the body of your resume may stand out, but because the front, I'm seeing your passport photograph. No, I just skip. All right. I hope I'm making sense. All right. So I would also like to add that your educational qualification is not enough for you to get a job, to get a role, especially when the job um the job requires certain specifications. It's not enough. So we would need evidence of your continued learning. So you need to make it a conscious effort. You need to be very intentional about your career path. You need to upskill, you need to learn, relearn, unlearn. You will keep learning and learning. So the more you learn, the more you update your CV, the more you learn, the more you update your CV. Every CV does not work for every resume does not work for every job description. It does not. It does not. So when you're applying for any role, you have to look at your CV. You need to look at it. You need to see what you need to adjust, to submit. Okay? Making sense. Now, to the too much information, this is the last part. The too much information that I mentioned earlier, right? I was mentioning, I thought I would wait till the end to tell you guys about too much information, which I had already expressed earlier. You tell us your address, we don't need that. Your marital status, you're married, you're single, you're divorced, you're sick. We do not need that. We already have a system where we're going to ask you all these questions which you're going to answer for. So we do not need all of that in your CV. Yes, there was a time that my CV had my details, my personal details arranged accordingly. But no, this is 2026. We cannot do that. We cannot continue to do that. I can see the Tribe Academy Global. Thank you. One resume cannot, what you're using as for a salesperson, you're applying for a sales representative, cannot work as you applying for a digital marketer. It can never work. It cannot work. I'm sorry. You have to tailor it. You have to tailor it intentionally. You need to tailor it with relevance to the job that you're applying for. And I also mentioned the unprofessional email address. Your email has just two letters, G and I, and the numbers, and capital letter V and small letter G, and then at gmail.com. Please, no, don't do that, please. Change it. You can have that aside for your as a regular email address, and then you can create one that is professional that you can use, right? That you can as you can see, yeah, as you can use. Don't use something sugar baby, something cowboy at gmail.com. No, please. Too much numbers. I can't even see the person's. I can't pronounce the email. No, please. And then finally, this is not included. Your resume should always be in PDF. Should always be in PDF um, format. Why? Because if it's in a Word document, I can open it and something shifts. We all know how um, Microsoft Word behaves sometimes. I can open it and something is off and it will not make sense. But your resume as if you send your resume as a PDF, once I open it, whether I touch anything, I do not touch anything, it's still the same, intact. The way you submitted it is how I'm going to look at it. All right. Okay. Yeah, I already mentioned PDF format. Your degrees, your masters, your PhDs, it's not enough to get a job. We need to see your skills because even when you get employed, like for my organization, even when you get employed, you get trained frequently. You get trained 2 to 3 times, 4 times in a year, even, and you get the certificate. And sometimes you write exams for these certifications, right? So that is why LinkedIn is also very important because from your LinkedIn, you have your picture. If I want to go and check who is applying for the job, I'm so curious. I can just go to your LinkedIn profile, go and check you out, go and check your activity, go and check how you're growing, what you're doing there, the people, who is your community, who do you attract. I can go ahead to check your profile. From there, I can see your certifications. That is why it's very important. You have a section in your LinkedIn where you can add your certifications, you can add your skills, you can add all these things. Another point, evidence of continued learning. Evidence. I want to see that you have the skill and you were able to exhibit this skill with the role that was entrusted in you. So I would say your skills, certification, and work experience, they work hand in hand. Because if you tell me that um you have a skill in project management, I want to see you capture it in your work experience. I want to see it captured there, that you were able to handle a project. I want to say that you were able to effectively handle a project. Now, if you have a LinkedIn, you can now link all of them. I can see your skill, I can see your certification, I can also see your work experience, and I can see evidence of pictures, videos of what you said you did. All right. Now, the fourth thing I would like to also emphasize on is relevance. Relevance is very important. Relevant. Pick what is relevant. A lot of you would think it's only 10 of you that are applying for a particular role, not even different roles. You can see about 50 people applying for one role. So you have to be very intentional, very, very intentional. You have to pick what is relevant to that job description. Okay, like we mentioned earlier that one resume does not work for every role, so you have to always be up to date. Always be up to date. If the Tribe Academy is doing another seminar another time and I see that we're going to be talking about resume, I am going to join. Personally, I'm going to join because this thing evolves. It evolves. There's always an update. There's always an update. There's always something for you to change. There's always something for you to add. So I would want to, be up to date. I don't want to submit my resume and then I'm the only one that is still using old things. There was a time where literally everybody was adding age, all of that. There's too much personal information in their resume. So be very up to date. Check check your resume every time. There's an app. I think I would share it with um try the host. I'll share with her so that she can share it to you guys that you can use. Once you open the app, you will know that there's no need of adding age. There's no need of adding all of this. It's just the very relevant, very important things that you need to add. Finally, be very intentional. Take your resume like you're writing an examination, a very important examination, maybe your 400 level second semester. You know that that's the last semester. If you carry over, you spill over. Just take your resume as if it was a final exam that you had to write. When you see a question, you're not going to start with your name, your age, your street, the house number, the direction. No, you're not going to do that. You're not going to add, you're not going to use short codes, right? You're going to write your words in full. You're not going to use any abbreviation. You're not going to use all those unnecessary things. You're going to be very, very intentional about writing that final exam. So I want you all to take your resume as if you were writing a final exam. You put your all into it. You put your all into it. And you'd also, I'll still use an examination as an example. You're not going to write what you're writing for English examination in your mathematics examination. You have to study for the two different subjects and give it your best and be intentional and pick relevant things as you answer that examination. So I would say you should take your resume like it was an examination. This is all I have to say. This is all that I know. This is what works. All right. Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you so much for sharing that inside scoop with us about what to put in our resumes, what to not put. So, guys, this is time for questions and answers. I know there are some things that you're probably looking for that she hasn't mentioned. I just wanted to ask, do you have a little time to dive into like when we have an HR interview? What are you also looking at? Are you able to dive into
Hmm.
that a little? Yeah,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
think we would have questions around that as well. For okay, so you now that you have crossed, the resume order, and then
Mm-hmm.
you receive that exciting email that you have a chat with the HR.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to know what are you looking for, like because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people just like go through the HR interview and then they get that sad message to say, oh sorry, we're moving on. Those generic messages, we're moving
Yeah.
on with other
Yeah.
candidates.
Yeah.
So we also need to know, like at that point where HR has actually had an opportunity to see our resume, everything T's are crossed, the I's are dotted. So what are you looking for in that HR interview? That's
Okay.
the question I have, anyways. So I would, sorry, before you go on, guys, can you please drop some encouragement? Are you picking something? Put it in the chat. What have you learned so far? Put it in the chat, and then your questions. This is the Q&A session. This one, they're not going to say, sorry, you are disqualified. This is when you're going to get asked the question. Like, normally, and it's true, seriously, when you're having an interview and you're just careful, like, let me not ask the wrong questions. Let me not go
Mm-hmm.
and, talk. But this one, guys, come on with your question because now she's here and she can give us the answers that we're looking for. So, yes, please go ahead with answering
Okay.
that.
Let me answer your question. Please
Yes,
come
sure.
again. I want you to ask the question again.
Okay, so I said when we have crossed that resume order and we receive
Mm-hmm.
that message, say, oh, HR now wants to have a quick chat with you. What should we be expecting? What are the things that when we state are like, yes, I want to put this person in front of the hiring manager?
Mm-hmm. Okay. So many a times you're going to be in a panel of different people, right? Throwing questions at you left, right, and center. And I promise you, you're not going to see me smiling like this. My face will be so, straight. I want to see your level of confidence. I would want to see how well you handle yourself. Okay, let's say it's your turn to come in for your own interview. Though there are certain dress codes that you should note because there are points for all these things. There are points. There are
Yeah,
points.
that's the one I'm looking for. So how do you score? Yeah.
Uh-huh. So you need to dress very professionally. Very, very. Don't wear casual. Don't wear jean and shirts. Don't wear sandal. Don't wear. You need to look very. Even if you're wearing native, these days native is a corporate wear. When you're coming, you need to come looking smart. You need to come. You know, you need to be confident in yourself because that is what we're also going to look at. You one day we would ask you to present to the board. Will you go there and be shaking? You can't do that. So yeah, and they need to now start tracing who employed this person, and then I would get into trouble, right? So there are various there. You can't. I cannot say for sure that 10 people can get the same experience when it comes to interview. It just depends on the set of people that you meet. Now, when you come in, you wait to ask to be seated. You don't just find the seats and sit. No, they don't say anything to you. They allow you to come in. I can allow you to stand there for like 5 minutes just to see your reaction. But you need to be, but you need to remain calm. When you come in, we're going to offer you a seat. You sit. Now, it's very important for you to know very few things about the organization, very important things. It's not, we're just asking you to be sure that to be sure that you really want the job, to know that you know your onions, that you know them very well. So random questions can just pop up. Oh, who is the CEO? Who is the this? Who is the that? You may not necessarily answer everything, but at least know one or two things. Now, the next question we're going to ask you is someone is already ticking their box on how you look physically. Someone is ticking your psychological, how they are looking at you psychologically. Someone's already ticking that box. And the next thing would be we would ask you to tell us about yourself. We're not asking you to tell us about your name, your age, all of that. We know, we've seen it. Basically, looking at you can already tell, oh, this person is in their mid 30s. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear your experience from you directly. We want to see we want to hear you talk about your experience. Now, when you're telling us about your experience, we're going to throw a question at you. Oh, we want you. Let's say it's you're applying for a marketing role. We're going to tell you, okay, this is a biro. We want you to sell it to this person. Let's see how you do it. How you want to convince me to buy a big? Why should I pick a big pen from another product? We're going to hear you talk about it. We also want to hear about your strengths, your achievements, how we want to hear you express, that you love what you do, that you like what you're doing. You want to hear everything. You want to hear you express. Nobody's going to tell you 5 minutes. We'll let you be. Tell us everything you want to tell us. While you're doing that, it's very important to also consider telling us your weaknesses, not everything, but just tell us this is the area of your weakness, this is what you're doing. Thank you very much. Body language and how you speak about the role. Thank you. So we want to hear, because you're not perfect, nobody is perfect. So we want to hear your weaknesses, some of your weaknesses, how you were able to, scale over, how you were able to overcome that, how you're able to handle tough situations. That is what we want to hear. So while you're telling us you are good in this, you are good in that. We also want to hear a little bit about um, your weaknesses. Now, someone from marketing department, a few people would be there. They would ask you few questions about marketing. Okay, let's use HR. Since I'm in HR, let's use HR. You're applying for HR role. I would ask you how you would handle leave, leave schedules, and all that. I would ask you. I would ask you how are you going to handle, everyone's leave. If you have 150 employees under your care, how are you going to make sure everyone has a balanced work life using their leave? I want to hear you talk about it because from your experience, you said you have experience of HR. I would ask you that question. I would also ask you how you train your staff. How do you know that this team needs this particular training? Why it's important for them for this training? If you're able to answer that, yeah, I can tick the box, right? That is for me. It applies to different
Roles.
departments too. So let's say we're enjoying the conversation and everything. We would ask you about what you think you should be paid, what should be your salary, and all that. We'll ask all those questions. Now, the right thing to do is to throw it back as a candidate. The best thing for you is to throw that question back to the
HR.
you ask them what is
Yes,
their
I can get
budget.
that.
You ask them what is the budget
So don't go
for
and
your
say you're looking for something and then shortchange
the reason
yourself.
for doing that is not to exceed. Yes, the point of doing that is not to exceed your limit, because you may think, oh, this is a very big organization, they must be paying in millions and all of that, and you go there and you fumble. You can't tell them you're expecting your salary to be 2 million. Let's say it's below, it is way above their budget. They'll just say this one is a greedy person. They'll just have a perception of you. And another reason for throwing the question back to them is so that you don't underpay yourself. You don't underpay yourself. A job that is supposed to be paying 500 upward, then you go there and you say, I'm thinking 150, 150 can do, normal work, they were paying me 70. Ah, sharp, sharp.
So much information.
They may just give exactly too much info. They may just give you the work. Like, this one doesn't know. And then when you now get there, you now start realizing that this is my colleague is any more than me. This is my junior, the person is any more than me. And then when you go back to HR, they'll say, you remember during your interview you said this is what you're expecting. So the best way to address that question is to throw it back to them. What is their budget? And we would like to play with you. We would say, this is our budget. You can now tell us that, oh, from statistics or from other organizations or where you're coming from, they paid more than this. And you can just blackmail us. You can tell us the economy. You can tell us few things, and then we can agree on something. That shows that you have a mind of your own. You're not coming to the organization for people to just push you around, push you around, push you around, push you around, push you around. So, yeah, I hope I've answered the
Also,
question. So that's it, yeah.
yes, yes,
And
you
in the
have.
evening, you speak to everyone, you be warm, and then you exit the room.
All right. All right. So that's especially for those that are doing like on-site interview, your
Yes,
appearance. I'm just going to recap what you said. Your appearance is important. So the important thing for me from what you said is HR is ticking boxes as well as the
yes,
recruiting managers. They are ticking boxes. So guys, I
yes.
want us to have that at the back of our mind. When you walk into an interview, you are going to be ticking boxes because that is how they score every applicant that is
From the
being
moment you
interviewed.
open the door, from the moment you open the door, boxes are being ticked. Boxes are being ticked. Boxes are
Guys,
being
there
ticked.
you have it.
Like you could be answering my question. and someone else decides to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing that to see how you can handle, so many conversations at a time. You
Mm.
can you can acknowledge the person that just asked the question and
Mm-hmm.
act and let the person know that, oh, I would address this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me finish what I'm saying. It just
Mm.
shows you need to be very confident, not proud,
Mm.
not arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
but that you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Very interesting. And this also brings me to something I just remembered when like you're preparing your resume for because we're in 2026, right? A lot of people just use AI. Like you have AI just some people just like do we're going to talk more extensively about that in the next session anyways, because that's my own area of
Okay.
specialty. But you already like have an idea of what you want to do, and then some people just throw the job description at AI, and AI gives them a resume, and then they submit the resume, and then they get called for an interview, and that's where the bubble bursts. Because
Exactly.
when questions are asked about, the resume you have submitted, some people don't even remember what is in the resume. So that's where, what she just spoke about in preparing your resume comes in. Like you are intentional, you know what you're putting in the resume, you're putting relevant information in the resume, and you're not just like, oh, AI created the resume, let me just dump it on there. Because like she said now, when you walk into an interview, virtual or even in person, your appearance is scored, your composure is scored. For my Gen Zs, they'll say composure. Your composure is scored. you
Mhm.
know your the way you answer questions is scored. The way your courtesy, like two people ask you the same your questions at the same time, are you just talking and ignore the person, or you take them to,
Hmm.
"Oh, sorry,
Hmm.
I'll get back to that question," or "let me note it down," something like that. And then you note that down and then complete what you're saying. And so that also shows, oh, this person is able to handle stress. Because
Yeah.
another thing I need to say is that there is a short window where a decision is made about an opportunity. And the thing is, like I said, or like she rightly said, a lot of people are applying for the same role. So number one, you scale the resume order. Now you are going in person and you're going to be interviewed. You need to also scale that order. All right. So let me
I need
see.
to also add something. I forgot to add something. So, as a HR person, I could just ask you that what problem do you think you're coming to solve for us? Now, you may not, I'm asking you, you've not been to the organization, right? Possibly do not know um any issue that we're having. So the best way to respond to that question would be, oh, you're willing to work with teams, you're willing to study what the issue is, you're willing to work with other people, other departments to see that an issue is resolved, right? Or you can tell us something similar from your previous HR role that you had this issue, not necessarily the details of the issue. You can just tell, oh, you had this issue. This was what you did, what you put together to solve that issue. It also gives you a point that you're a problem solver. You could try to be a problem solver.
So it's
Yeah.
not to say, oh, I don't know what problems you people have,
No, you
or
can't.
I don't
You can't
know, or
solve.
exactly. You have to just be creative to say, oh, this is the problem that I have solved in the past, and I think if
Exactly.
this is applicable to your organization, this is how I would approach it. Yes.
Exactly.
So yes. All right. So guys, they're being nice this afternoon. I'm not really seeing a lot of questions so me, I'm just going to be asking my personal question because
All right.
yeah. Right. So another thing I wanted to ask is this. If you have two candidates, two strong candidates, you know, um, you've like checked their qualifications, they interviewed well. What is one thing that helps you to say, okay, I'm going with A and I'm not going with B? If that decision has to be made, are there things that helps one person, like the two of them have similar qualifications, right? The two of them like did pretty well in the interview. But when it comes to judgment as to okay, this is the person we're going with, what are some of the factors that influence that? Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, I think we have a system freeze, guys.
Can you hear me? Sorry, the network went
Yes,
off.
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, I didn't get the question. The complete
Oh, okay.
question.
Sorry. Yes, I was saying that what makes if two candidates are both qualified for a role, what makes one candidate the preferred over the other, despite the fact that they are both qualified, like they have the same, they
Okay,
have identical
so
qualifications. Yes.
we
Network.
would we would go over the interview again. We would look at those practical questions that was presented and see how you handled the situation. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would go through those practical questions that we gave you and see how we would ask um superior supervisors now to look into it. They would be the ones to finally make their choice. If they can
Okay.
take two roles, fine. If they cannot take two roles, it's going to be a really, really tough decision. I've not been in that position before where I'd had to pick one. Yeah. And if we have to ask for another interview, because sometimes we have two interviews. So if it gets to a point where we have to ask for another interview, we will do that.
All right. All right. So yeah.
However,
So
I
I
think
think.
that's solution, it's applicable to different every organization have their own way of how they would handle
Yeah.
that situation. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing that something I gleaned from this, conversation is that it's always important to go into an interview prepared. Like you
Yes.
research the organization, excuse me, you research the organization, you know your resume. That is something that's
Yes.
also important. And then you know the role that you're applying for. And then you're able to speak to, what they are looking for. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I think that's a key takeaway for me. And then of
All
course
right.
what you mentioned about that that salary thing. Don't go and over, shoot yourself and say, oh, this is what I want when the budget is higher. Just ask, oh, what's your range? What are you looking for? Then I can review
Mm-hmm.
and tell you if that works for
Yeah.
me. That is a good way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, someone is asking a question here. I'm just going to
Okay.
pin it to the
Fine.
chat so you can
What
see.
okay. Skill, character, potential. And what red flag do people mostly show in an interview without realizing it? So, I'll start with the latter question. Um, it's not you're not coming into you're not meeting your family members, you're not meeting your friends, you're not meeting your crew, you're not meeting your supervisors, right? You are meeting people that you've probably never met before. So composure, you need to be you need to you need to imagine that you were meeting someone very prominent. You would not appear, you would not look shabby, you would try your best. You would try as much as you can to look presentable. You would so most things that people don't realize, they just feel they can just wear anything and go for the interview. They just feel when you come into a room, you're supposed to look for a seat and sit. You're supposed to look for a chair and sit, right? You're supposed to, just say a casual hello without eye contact, right? You know when you're going, you have to be intention. You have to reset. You have to reset. When you go in, you look at faces. First impression matters a lot, right? So when you go in, you need to relax. You need to smile. You need to greet in such a way that everyone hears you, not the first two people, you need to wait to be asked to sit on the chair because you don't know if the chair that they kept in point B is for you. For you, you saw chair in point A and you want to sit. No, you wait. See, there are lots of things, character, the way you speak, if you're too loud, if you are too quiet, if you are looking timid, you have to be confident. You have to be confident when you're meeting these people. You have to be confident.
Yeah.
So I hope I've answered the latter question about your part. Yeah, hairdo as as irrelevant as hairdo, it's very important. You go to an organization and you're carrying a particular color of hair for an interview, or the length of your hair, or how it looks. If you're a guy and you have dreads or you have this spiky hair or whatever, the best thing to do, wear native, wear cap, your hair. Right? I hope everyone can hear me. So maybe you're carrying colored hair or you're on low hair, it's a very, funky color or whatever. Find a wig, I don't know, tie, I don't know, you can't tie a tie, no. Tie a wig or you make your hair. Don't come looking, don't come looking like you didn't prepare for the job. Your shoes, as easy as shoe. Maybe you walked a distance and you have dust on your shoes. Someone is looking, it may not be me, but someone may be looking. And for that, you might just get a minus. You could be what's it called? You could be the best candidate for that job, or a better option. But by the time they start calculating all these things, imagine you were called for an impromptu meeting that you did not prepare for. Are you going to go with dirty shoes? Are you going to go looking like that? If you're going to meet stakeholders, investors, and all that, will you go with your hair looking like that? No, 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 no. You will not. So yeah. And then for the first question, what is more difficult to hire between skill, character, and potential? Hmm. So you can pretend about your character. So I don't think character is less difficult. You can pretend for a period of time. If you've been hired, you've been hired. The highest you can do is give you query. If you don't accept the query, we just let you go. But the two things that would be difficult for us to, the most difficult should be the potential. Yeah, the most difficult thing should be the potential because we can only imagine. We do not, it's a 50-50 probability, something. But for your skills are very, very important. Your skills are very, very important. I made mention of relevance. It must be relevant to the role.
Must be relevant to the role. All right, I think we've lost our voice there. We're just going to wait a little. Okay. All right, can you all still hear us? I think we lost if we lost your sound for a bit. Yeah. All right, so guys, while we're waiting for our sound to come back on, if you have more questions, please drop it in the comments. Drop your questions in the comments. We're stopping in another 3 minutes. We're a little over time, but I think what points she's making is very important. All right, I'm just going to. Oh my god. So let's see if we're able to get our sound back. I think we lost the sound. Oh, okay. We actually lost the connection altogether. Yeah, but everything she said, guys, everything she said about appearance, especially when you're going for a physical interview, even when you're going for virtual interviews, when you are joining a virtual interview, I think it's very important to come correct. Like come correct. Your air is giving your yeah, your air is giving the right vibes. Yeah, sorry, we lost your connection there. Can you hear us? Oh, we still can't hear you. All right, let's just while we're trying to get well, as I was saying, your appearance is important because they're going to be looking at you and saying, can we put this person would this person be able to do like a proper presentation and all that? So all that information is key. Your appearance is key, like she mentioned. Your your skill has to be relevant. Sorry, we lost connection for a bit. Can you
I'm
hear
so
me?
sorry.
No, it's fine. I think it's just the internet.
Forgive me.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you
So
were
I
just
hope I've answered. Okay, I can say.
okay. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just asking if I was able to answer the question, but I can see from the comment section that the person said thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah.
So I
I
guess
think
I've
yes.
answered the
Answer the
question.
question. You were just emphasizing the point and buttressed it. It's always good to like come well prepared, looking okay, looking presentable, so that you will not lose an opportunity. I think for this question, the person said in the CV, is it necessary to add marital status and gender? So I think this person joined a little late.
Hmm.
Yeah, she already mentioned that you don't
Yeah.
need that information in your resume. That should be going
Okay, I
to
will still answer. Okay. To add your personal information. This is personal information. Don't add your marital status. Don't add that is on the document. Yes, the CV documents. Please do not add your marital status. Do not add your gender. Do not add your local government. Do not add um details of your address. That oh you live in 42B House A, 7th Street. No. If you're in Abuja, just put Abuja, Nigeria. You're in Lagos, put Lagos, Nigeria. If you're in Rivers, put Port Harcourt, Nigeria. No need for the details because um these days we do not receive paper CVs. So we already have a system online where you can fill all these things. So the system already knows how many women are applying for the job. You don't have to put all those. Don't add your passport photograph to it. It's unprofessional.
I don't know. Yeah, too much information. All right. As we wrap up today's conversation, I wanted to say a very big thank you. Again,
Thank
guys,
you.
I cannot overemphasize networking. I met
Mhm.
I met Gifts on through a boot camp and then I slid into a DM on LinkedIn and boom, that is where the conversation started from. So guys, don't underestimate the importance of networking. I want to say a very big thank you, man, for taking out time to be on this call. I know it's a Sunday. I know it's busy. I know next tomorrow is work and all that, but you still took out time to join us, to give yourself to us, and we're so grateful. Guys, if you have not joined the
Thank
WhatsApp
you for
group, I don't know
having
what
me.
you're waiting for. We're going to be dropping the link to connect with her on LinkedIn with you so you can connect with her. Please indicate when you connect that you're from Tribe Academy and you attended tab 1.0, and of course you're connecting with her based on that so that she will know, because she's an HR person. She's going to be receiving a lot of um she's going to be receiving a lot of like what's it called, connection requests and all that. So yes, please connect with her and she'll definitely honor your connection. Just indicate that you're coming from this conversation. Oh, we have one more question. I don't know if we can take that because we are like 18 minutes over time and I know I need to release, and then of course we need to drink some water to get into the next session. But let me just quickly pin this because this person asked, we should come first between education and experience section. Well, I think I'll just answer that simply. Your experience should come first. That is the standard I know of. And I'm also going to be giving us a link in the WhatsApp group to a good resume building tool that you can explore to build your resume. So thank you everyone for joining. Have an amazing weekend. Oh, okay, she's back. I sorry, we lost your connection. So yeah, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
So this person was saying which one comes first? Is it like education or experience? I think I maybe like I said, it's the experience because like based on the normal standard resume format, but I don't know what's your take on this before we wrap
Yeah.
up? Experience, right?
You,
Experience section should
yeah.
come first. Yeah,
Experience should come. Yes.
because you're
Yeah.
also looking at relevance to the skill. But I think one thing that
Yes.
is important is to make sure that you are highlighting what you're stating. You're not just running through a CV. You're saying this is education,
Exactly.
this is experience. So the person that is looking through also knows, okay, this is what I'm looking at now, and this is what is relevant based on your understanding of the application. So thank you once
Yeah.
again. We appreciate you coming today to talk to us. God bless you for us. I hope that when we call on you some other time, you will
Thank you
answer.
for
All
having
right.
me.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
So
Bye.
I'll share the app that I mentioned that
Yes.
would just help with building a resume. And yeah, yeah,
All right.
that's
We'll
all.
be looking forward to that, and I will be, of course, sharing with the team on WhatsApp. That's what our community is for, to help people like get resources, and of course, go from being rejected to being hired, and of course, that upgrade is what everybody
Yeah.
wants. All right, thank you very much for
Thank
coming, ma'am, and we
you.
appreciate it. All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
All right, guys. So another session is going to start in 40 minutes from now. Please go grab water, grab lunch, and let's come back for the last session of this webinar that we are holding. Thank you so much for coming and staying. Talk to you soon. All right. Bye bye.